Very good afternoon, dear students. Today in this class of network analysis and synthesis, we are going to start a new topic, that is two-port networks. In the last class, we had discussed in detail the Laplace transform, the properties of Laplace transform, and the application of Laplace transform for circuit analysis. So your today's class or today's topic is another kind of tool that will help us in analyzing our circuits. Okay, so I hope you'll be able to understand clearly the concepts of two-port networks. So these are the books that we have already talked about, which are covering this topic. So here we go with the two-port networks. So students, in the very first class, I had talked about the term electric network, and I told you that an electric network is nothing but interconnection of two or more simple circuit elements. Okay, that is called electric network. And we had also seen a few terms which were associated with electric network, like we had seen passive electric network, active electric network. We had also talked about linear component, non-linear component, in fact linear network and non-linear network. So we had also talked about lumped circuit parameter. We had also talked about distributed circuit parameter. So I hope those terms are already in your mind, and as I just told you their name, you must be able to recall their definition now. So with this background, we will now proceed with two-port network. So students, first we need to understand what is the meaning of port. Okay, so port means a pair of terminals. Okay, so a pair of terminals at which a signal either leave or enter a network. So students, wherever I talk about network, it means it is electric network. Okay, so if you see in the figure on the left hand side, at the center I have shown a linear network with a rectangle. Okay, and this is one port and this is another port. Okay, so this is a pair of terminal where signal is you can say entering into the network, or it could also leave the network the reverse way. So these are known as your ports. So what do we understand by one port network? A one port network is a network having only one pair of terminals. Okay, so one pair of terminal, as I have shown in the figure towards right hand side on the top. So this is how we represent one port network, where we will have a single pair of terminals. Okay, and let me tell you, when we say that one pair of terminals or one port network, that means that we can make no connections apart from those pair of terminals. So at any other node we will not be able to make any connection. That's what we will have to assume here. Okay, so these are the only 2 points or terminals where we can make a connection. So if there is some node in between this circuit, or in between this circuit, which is represented by this rectangle, we will not make any connection there. So these are the only two connectable, you can say, points. So this is your one port network. Okay, and another thing that we need to know about one port network is we have two leads, and the current which are being represented on these two leads, see IA and IB here, they are always equal. Means whatever current will be entering into your electric network, the same current will be coming out of that electric network. It is quite obvious, we are already well aware of the concepts of electric network. So the currents in these two leads or these two terminals, they will always be equal. Okay, so current entering into the circuit will be same as the current coming out of the circuit. In a way, this is nothing but your KCL also. Fine. So another thing is that your source and loads must be directly connected across the two terminals of a port. What does it mean? That obviously when we are representing the linear network with the help of rectangle, okay, so then if we want to apply some voltage in this network, so obviously that will be done across these terminals only. Okay, so whatever source that we need to connect, that will be applied at this terminal, and if we want to connect any load also, okay, so that will also be connected across these two terminals only. No other connections will be made. So you need to understand this particular point. Okay, see here in this figure also I have shown you, this is your linear network. This is the pair of you can say terminals, and what we have done, we have connected a source across these terminals, no connection in between. So this is the concept of your one port network. Now let us move forward. So after we have talked about one port network, now we will discuss multi-port network. So we will simply generalize our discussion in the previous slide. So if a network have more than one pair of terminals, that is called as multi-port network. And since the heading of our lecture is two port networks, so two port is a specific case of multi-port network. So two port network is a network having two pair of terminals, and this is how we represent a two port network. So here we have two pair of terminals. In a way you can say that one pair of terminal is present at the input and another pair is present at the output. Okay, so here we are representing our two port network with this. So you can say that your first pair of terminals is represented by A and B, and your second pair of terminals is represented by your C and D, and in between you have some linear electric network. So as I told you in the previous slide also, here in case of two port network also, no device should be connected between A and C or B and D. Means in between A and C there will be no device connected. Similarly, in between B and D there will be no device connected, or there will be no connection in between. The connection will be only made with the terminals present at the input and at the output. Okay, I hope these things are clear, and dear students, you need to understand this concept, only then you will be able to appreciate the concept of two port network. Okay, now another thing is, that means if we are able to make connection only through these terminals, that means one electric network can be connected to another one port network using these ports only. Okay, so you can say that if you want to connect one port network with another one port network, that will be through the given pair of terminals, or if you have one port network and another multi-port network, then also you will connect with the help of given ports only. Okay, let me give you one analogy here. All of us are very familiar with the usage of computers. Okay, so we have a USB port. Okay, what is the main function of any port in your CPU? The main function of the port is, if you want to connect any external device, that will be connected only and only with the help of these ports, whether it is your serial port, whether it is your parallel port, or any other port. Similarly, in your mobile phone also, if you want to connect any other device with your mobile phone, that can only be done through those ports only. Okay, apart from port, your mobile phone, your CPU, or your computer, or your laptop, that is a complete, you can say, independent device, or a kind of you can say block, where you have given some ports to connect. Otherwise you cannot you change the configuration of your given device. So if you compare that analogy with your two port networks, I think things will be clear to all of you. Okay, so now we move forward. So students, after discussing the concept of one port network and two port network, we need to basically understand why are we studying this topic of two port networks, or what is the significance of having two port networks. So as I told you in the previous slides also, by giving an analogy, this two port network approach, it is a kind of black box approach. Okay, so what we do, we embed our entire circuit, entire linear network in a black box, and we need not worry about what is there in that black box or what is there in that circuit. We are simply concerned with whatever we'll be providing at the input and whatever we will be getting at the output. Okay, so in a way what we can say that we can represent the given circuit in terms of its parameters. So what we will do basically, we will represent the given linear network in terms of parameters. Let us represent those parameters with P, and then we need not worry about what that linear network is actually composed of. Means we need not worry about whether in that linear network we have combination of resistances only, or resistance capacitance, or resistance inductor, or we have all the three components, resistance, inductance and capacitor, or we may have, apart from passive components, some active components also present in the linear network. So if we are aware of the parameters of our given circuit, then we need not worry about anything else. It is in that case, uh, our linear network is a kind of black box where we have only you can say a pair of terminals where we will be applying input and will be able to observe output. That's it. So whenever we want to represent our electric network mathematically, or we want to give a mathematical model to our circuit, then two port network is one such technique. Okay, so we can analyze our circuit mathematically if we use two port network approach. Okay, and another important thing that we will have to assume while going through this two port network approach or black box approach, we will assume that our network is composed of linear elements. Another thing is, our network must not contain any independent source. Okay, so any independent source, if any, that can be connected only at the two terminals, not inside the linear network. However, inside the network you may have dependent sources. Dependent sources are permissible, but independent sources are not permissible. Okay, so students, it is because of these things that we are studying two port network here. Okay, I hope all the things are clear to everyone. So students, as I talked in the last slide also, that we will be mathematically representing our linear network. Okay, and that mathematical representation with the help of certain parameters. Okay, so in case of two port networks, we will study four type of parameters. We will represent our circuit in the form of four types of parameters. First parameter will be admittance parameters. Second parameter will be impedance parameters. Third will be hybrid parameters. And fourth will be transmission parameters. Your admittance parameters, it is also called as Y parameters. Your impedance parameters, it is called Z parameters. Hybrid parameters, they are H parameters. And transmission parameters are also called ABCD parameters. Okay, and let me tell you, admittance, you already know what is resistance. Okay, and when you have along with resistance some capacitance or inductance, your you represent that will be help of impedance. Impedance is your Z, and your 1 by R. Okay, so that is your inverse of resistance is nothing but conductance, and your inverse of your impedance is your admittance. So your Y is nothing but 1 by Z. Okay, so your impedance parameters and your admittance parameters, they will be following your Ohm's law directly. Okay, we have already seen this equation, V is equal to I R, and if you take impedance, it is V equal to I Z. So this is your impedance, and if you take in terms of admittance, it is equal to I is equal to V 1 by Z, that is nothing but Y, so Vy. Okay, so you can see here, in case of your admittance parameters, you will have current on the left hand side and voltage on the right hand side. In case of impedance, you will have voltage on the left hand side and your current on the right hand side. Whereas in case of hybrid parameters, there will be no clear cut distinction like this. You will have current as well as voltage on both left hand side and right hand side. And transmission parameters, you must have heard of the term transmission lines. Okay, so these transmission parameters, they help us in the representation of the transmission lines. So now we will discuss these parameters one by one. In today's class, we will talk about two parameters mainly. One is your admittance parameters and another is your impedance parameters. And dear students, let me tell you one thing, that these parameters are very simple to understand. Just a few minutes will be required to cover these parameters, and all that is required is you need to practice the solution, or you can say the method of obtaining these parameters. So it simply requires your circuit solving skills, and that circuit solving skill will come only and only through practice. Okay, so now let us start with our first two port network parameter, that is your admittance parameters. So as I told you in the previous slide, before we move forward with our admittance parameters, we need to see the sign convention first. Okay, so since in case of two port networks, we have two pair of terminals, one at the input and another at the output. So this is your input terminal, this is your output terminal. Okay, so the voltage and current at the input terminal, they are represented as V1 and I1. Similarly, the voltage and current at the output terminal, they are represented as V2 and I2. So in a way you can say that we are going from port 1 to port 2, or you can say that input terminal is our port 1 and output terminal is our port 2. Okay, another important thing that you must notice here, that the current and the current at the input and as well as the output, both these currents are directed into the linear network. Okay, so you see here I1 is also directed into the linear network, I2 is also directed into the linear network. Okay, so this is you can say a sign convention, directed into the network. So if you happen to find the value of I2 outside in the circuit that you will be discussing, in that case your I2 value will be negative for you. So we will be assuming I1 and I2 which are directed into the network as positive. This thing you have to remember. Though we are saying that your second port or port number 2 is output port, and we are in a, you can say, habit of visualizing output port in a way that your current will be directed outward. But here we are assuming at the port 2 also the current is directed inwards. So that is important point that you have to keep in mind. Okay, so after this, then now we will develop the equation for admittance parameters. So students, see here, I1 is, you can say, current at terminal 1. So obviously we are aware of the superposition theorem. Let us assume that V1 and V2 are the two voltage source. Okay, and if we want to calculate the value of I1, then this I1 is the superposition of the current components which will come from V1 and V2 respectively. So what we will do, we will first apply V1, we will remove V2 and find the component. Then we will apply V2 and we will calculate the current component for V2, and we are not present in the circuit. So as a result, your I1 may be considered as the result of superposition of the components which is caused by V1 and V2 respectively. So that's why we have the equation number 1, that is I1 is equal to I is equal to V by R or V by Z, and 1 by Z is nothing but your admittance. So it becomes I1 is equal to Y into V1. So right now you do not worry about why are we writing 1 1. We will discuss this thing in the next slide. Okay, similarly, this is your component of the current when V2 is applied. So I1 is equal to this component plus this component. Okay, this component is due to V1 and this component is due to V2. Similarly, if we want to calculate I2, this will also be the sum of the current components due to V1 and due to V2. So you can see here I2 is equal to this component is due to V1 and this component is due to V2. Okay, and students, we already know in terms of Ohm's law, what do we have? I is equal to Y into V, and this Y is nothing but a proportionality constant. Okay, in Ohm's law we represent it with the help of, you can say, conductance 1 by R. Okay, so this proportionality constant Y, fine, it has been represented since we have 4 cases, Y11, Y12, Y21 and Y22. Okay, and what is the terminology for Y11? See, this Y11, it has been written as Y11 because it is having with it associated I1 and V1. That's why Y11. So here what we have, Y12 and Y12, this is I1 and V2. This is Y21. Y21 means this is having I2 and this is V1. This is Y22 means V2 and I2. Okay, so this is how we can represent our admittance parameter in the form of equations. So these two equations are very, very important, and you will have to in fact memorize these equations. So let us move forward. See, now what we will do, we will represent these circuit parameters of two-port network in the form of matrices. Okay, if you carefully look at these admittance parameters, Y11, Y12, Y21 and Y22, these are nothing but your matrix kind of representation. You see this one. So in the first row of Y matrix, we have Y11 and Y12, and in the second row we have Y21 and Y22. So these two equations that we have written for our admittance parameters, it can be represented in the form of matrices also. And when you represent in the form of matrices, it will be very easy for you to identify these parameters. So what we are doing, we are representing this I1, I2 as a column matrix. We are also representing V1, V2 as column matrix, and this Y11 Y matrix is a 2 by 2, you can say, admittance parameter matrix. And if you solve these So students, we were talking about the matrix representation of our Y parameters. So we had seen that this is how we can represent our uh, admittance parameters in the form of matrix. So if you multiply these two matrices on the right hand side, you will obtain these equations, and you can compare uh, this with our original equations, and you can very easily observe that these are nothing but the one and the same thing. And this is also one of the regions of representing these y parameters in the having notations like 1 1 1 2 2 1 2 2 like that. Okay, so this is your representation of admittance parameters. So now we move forward. So students, these Y parameters are also called short circuit admittance parameters. And why are we calling them as short circuit parameters? See, what is our next objective? I told you that we will be representing this linear network with the help of your uh, parameters. So if we represent this linear network with the help of Y parameters, then obviously we need to solve our circuit for your V1 and V1 I1 and V2 I2. Okay, so in order to basically represent these linear network in terms of parameters, we need the value of these parameters. Okay, that is y11, y12, y21 and y22. And this v1 i1, v2 i2, these are given to us because we can easily measure these parameters. We can measure what input we have given. We can also measure what output we are getting. So as I told you, since we are following a black box approach, we need not worry about what is there inside the circuit, but we can observe the value of v1 i1 and v2 i2. So obviously we will have to express our circuit parameters in the form of v1 i1 v2 and i2. So in a way you can say that we are characterizing our linear network in the form of admittance parameters, and those admittance parameters, they are obviously defined on the basis of whatever input we are giving and whatever output we are observing. Okay, so how will we obtain the values of these y parameters? This is what we have to see. And in this equation, if we want to find out the value of y11, then what do we need? We need this term to be 0. So if this term is 0, if we want to find out y11, y11 will be I1 upon V1. Okay, see, y11 is I1 upon V1, and this term will be 0 if V2 is 0. See students, we can only change V1 I1 V2 I2. So here we have V2, so we will make V2 as 0. And when we make 0 voltage is nothing but equivalent to your short circuit. That's why we are calling these admittance parameters also as short circuit admittance parameter, because these parameters are obtained by short circuiting either the input port or the output port. So you can see here in these set of equation that either we are making V2 equal to 0 or V1 equal to 0. So this is just simple mathematical equations. So you can see, if we want to find out y11, y11 will be equal to I1 upon V1, given that V2 equal to 0. Similarly, y12 will be equal to, where is y12? This one is y12. This is y12. This y12 will be equal to I1 upon V2, and this V1 will be 0. This is what we get. Similarly, if you want to obtain y21, y21 will be equal to I2 upon V1. I2 upon V1, given that V2 is 0. Okay. And similarly, y22 is nothing but I2 upon V2, given that V1 equal to 0. So we have either V1 equal to 0 or V2 equal to 0. That's why we call them as short circuit parameters. Okay. And the individual name for these parameters is your y11. It is known as short circuit input impedance, input admittance. Okay. Why are we calling it as input admittance? Because we have in this Y parameter, all the input parameters, that is 1 means input current and input voltage. That's why input admittance. Similarly, we have short circuit output admittance. In case of output, we have both the output terminal parameters, that is your I2 and your V2. That's why we call it as output admittance. And wherever we have both input and output involved, we call those parameters as transfer admittance parameters. Transfer admittance. So you can see here Y12 means 1 and 2 both are involved. Y21 means I2 and V1 that is output and input both are involved. So we have in a way three types of admittance parameters. One is input parameter, another is output parameter, and your third one is transfer parameters. Transfers have the two cases, from 1 to 2 and from 2 to 1. Okay, so this is what we have represented. So this is all about our admittance parameters. Okay, so now we will try to understand this thing with the help of a numerical, very small numerical, so that you will be able to understand the procedure or the methodology, so that we can represent a given circuit with the help of admittance parameters. So students, now we will again try to understand the calculation of your admittance parameters with the help of one numerical example. And with this example, all your doubts should be clear, that how do we represent a two-port network, or what is the meaning of this black box approach, what is the meaning of you can say two ports, that is port at the input side and port at the output side. Now you see this is our two-port network, which is schematically represented by figure on the left hand side. Now you can see that whatever term linear network has been represented, that linear network is nothing but which is shown in this green dotted box. So your linear network consists of three resistances, 5 ohm, 10 ohm and 20 ohm. Okay, and these are the two terminals. One is at the input, you can say port 1, and this is our port 2. So this is a very simple, you can say that a two-port network having resistive elements only. Okay, so now again I want to say that as we are simply assuming that V1 and V2 are the two voltages at these 2 points. Okay, and now we need to calculate the Y parameters, or you can say admittance parameters for this circuit. So let us first start with Y11. Okay, so how do we calculate Y11? Students, as I told you here, your circuit solving capabilities or skills will come into picture. You just see how do we calculate each of the parameters. Okay, first let us see Y11. So what is Y11? I1 upon V1, given that V2 equal to 0. First we have to apply this condition, V2 equal to 0. So let us do that. V2 equal to 0 means we have short. We have a short here. Okay, so let me redraw this thing. So for this Y11, we have to make V2 equal to 0, means we have to short this. Once we short this 20 ohm resistance, it will be having short in parallel. So in a way, this 20 ohm resistance has been removed. Okay, now Y11 is nothing but I1 upon V1. So we need to have V1 and we need to have I1. Okay, so what does it mean? That if we want a ratio of I1 upon V1, that is nothing but admittance. Okay, so this I1 upon V1 can be calculated directly. V2 is short, this is removed, so it means that this 5 ohm resistance and 10 ohm resistance, they are in parallel. It is very clear, 5 ohm and 10 ohm are in parallel. So if you calculate the value of 5 and 10 ohm in parallel, it will give you what value? It will give you 50 upon 15. This is the equivalent resistance, R equivalent. Okay, fine. So R equivalent is nothing but your V1 upon I1 according to Ohm's law. This is equal to your equivalent resistance, that is your R11. So your R11 is 50 by 15. Okay, but what do we want? We want the reverse of this, that is I1 upon V1. So it will be reverse. So I1 upon V1 is Y11. So what will be the value of Y11? Y11 will be equal to 50 by 15. Okay, sorry, 15 by 50, and 15 by 50 is nothing but 0.3. Okay, this is how we have obtained one parameter. Fine. So students, I will advise one thing to you people. Wherever you either you solve for admittance parameters or impedance parameters, you first try to find out your Y11 and Y22. Similarly, for your impedance parameters, you calculate Z11 and Z22. So it will be easy for us. I hope you remember the calculation of Thevenin resistance. Okay, in a way, try to see this thing, that see, we call this as input admittance Y11. We call Y22 as output admittance. Okay, so just to give you an idea, that input admittance is nothing but the admittance calculated at the input port, or you can say a kind of Thevenin impedance at the input. Similarly, this is Thevenin admittance at the output. Okay, so you already are aware of the calculation of Thevenin resistance using Thevenin theorem. So same kind of thing will be used, but there is one change here. That thing has to be calculated by imposing these conditions, V2 equal to 0 and V1 equal to 0. This you cannot change. Okay, so we have calculated your input admittance Y1 equal to 0.3. Now let us find out output admittance. So output admittance is Y22. So for this, what we need, so for output admittance, we need to make V1 as 0. Okay, so if we make V1 as 0, that means we will have to make V1 short. So if we do this, we will make V1 short, then this 5 ohm resistance will be out of the picture. So in that case, 20 ohm and 10 ohm, these resistances are in parallel. Okay, so 20 and 10, these are in parallel. Fine. So what will be the equivalent resistance then? Equivalent resistance, or R22, will be equal to 200 by 30. 200 by 30. Fine. And R22 is nothing but V2 upon I2. And what we want? I2 upon V2. So what will be I2 upon V2? I2 upon V2 will be equal to reverse of this. That is your 30 by 200. 30 by 200. Okay. So if you do that, provided V1 equal to 0, obviously Y22 will come out to be how much? 0.15. So this is how you will calculate Y22. See, in a way, I'm not doing anything else. I am solving this circuit in a usual way. Just I am giving it different names by putting certain conditions. So I have calculated two parameters. One is your input admittance and another is your output admittance. So dear students, after we have calculated input admittance and output admittance, we now need to calculate our transfer admittance. We need to calculate Y12 and then Y21. Students, let me tell you one more thing. We are normally comfortable in the calculations of resistances or impedances, and at least personally speaking, I'm not that comfortable in the calculation of admittances. So you can also adopt one approach in a way that you can calculate impedance or resistance, and then you can reverse it and obtain the corresponding admittance parameters. The way we have done, we first calculated R11, then by reversing we got Y11. Similarly, we calculated R22, and by reversing that we got Y22. So same thing you can also adopt. Fine. So we have got Y11 and Y22. Now let us move to Y12 and Y21. Okay. So let us start with Y12. So for Y12, our V1 should be 0. So this is V1 that is made 0. Okay. So for this, if we made this as 0, this resistance is out of the picture, as we have already discussed. So now we want the ratio of I1 and V2, or you can say in a way we want the ratio of V2 and I1, or we need some expression in the form of V2 and I1. So see students, here V1 is 0, but I1 is not 0. So if this is short, let me redraw this circuit, then you will be able to understand clearly. So this is your 10 ohm resistance, this is short. Okay, this is your 20 ohm resistance, and here we have this thing. This is your second terminal. Here we have V2. Okay, and this is your I2. Fine. This is your 10 ohm resistance. This is your 20 ohm resistance. And what else do we have? We have in this branch, the current is I1. So if you redraw it, things are very, very clear. And we need a ratio of V2 and I1. So means V2 and I1. Okay. And how can we do that? See, this V2 is the voltage across this pair of terminal, and this is in parallel with 20 ohm. So it means the voltage across 20 ohm is nothing but V2, and this 10 and 20 are also in parallel. It means the voltage across 10 ohm is also V2. So across 10 ohm the voltage is V2 and the current is I1. So very simple. So what do we have? We have R is nothing but 10 ohm. R is equal to V by I. Across 10 ohm, what is the voltage? Voltage is nothing but V2. Okay. How much is the current across 10 ohm? It is I1. So V2 upon I1 is how much? 10. And what we want? I1 upon V2, that is reverse of this. That is your Y12. This condition we have already imposed, V1 equal to 0. So that's why we can directly say Y12 is equal to 1 by 10. Okay. Now one important point that we must answer here is that we are taking V2 upon I1. So if you look at these things carefully, then see the polarity of V2. So V2 is plus on the top side and minus on the bottom side. So that way you'll have plus here and minus here. So that way the direction of the current of I1, it should be negative. Okay, so if you do that, so instead of your V2 upon I1, it should be V2 upon minus I1. Okay, so that's why the value of Y12 will be minus 1 upon 10. That is equal to minus of 0.1. Okay, so this minus sign has come into picture because the assumed direction of the current was reverse of the actual direction of current. So the actual current is flowing in this way, whereas your assumed direction was from left to right. So that's why this minus sign has come. So students, this sign convention you must have to take into account. Otherwise, you may make a mistake while writing the final answer. So this is y12. Now let us find out y21. So for y21, what we need? v1 equal to 0. Sorry. For y21, v2 equal to 0. That is, we have to short this. So if we short this 20 ohm resistance will be out of the circuit. Okay. So again, as I explained in the previous calculation of y12, you see here these terminals, they are in parallel with 5 ohm resistance. So what is the voltage across 5 ohm resistance? That is V1 with polarity positive on upper side and negative on lower side. This 5 ohm and 10 ohm resistance, they are in parallel. So this V1 same voltage will appear across this only. So like this. Okay. Now the direction of the current should be this one, from left to right, whereas the assumed direction is from right to left. So again minus will come into picture. Okay. So if we write the voltage and current across this 10 ohm resistance, so voltage across 10 ohm resistance, say V10, is equal to the assumed the actual current direction is left to right, let it be I10. Okay. V10 is equal to I10 into 10. Okay. Now what is V10? V10 is nothing but V1. Correct. Now what is I10? I10 is from left to right, whereas I2 is from right to left. So I10 is equal to minus of I2 and into 10. And what we want? We want I2 upon V1. So we have to take V1 towards right hand side, and rest of the things we have to bring to left hand side. So if we solve that, it becomes I2 upon V1 is equal to minus 1 by 10. That is nothing but minus of 0.1. Okay. So this is how what we get y21. So I think this is a better explanation. By using this terminology, I am able to justify that how come minus sign has come, and this minus sign has come because the actual current direction is opposite to that of the assumed current direction. So this is how we are able to represent our given network, given linear network, in the form of your admittance parameters. And you can see here that all the admittance parameters are obtained with the help of V1, I1, I2 and V2. Okay. So with this I stop here. So students, we stop here. We have completed the discussion of admittance parameters. We will talk about impedance parameters in the next class, and if there is any doubt, you can discuss in the next class. Thank you. Thank you very much.